Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is now showing in cinemas, so here's my review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I'm gonna start with the positives first because respectfully, there wasn't a lot. What I liked about this movie is that it had a few good scenes of horror and comedy. I thought the opening scare was really good, and the scene where the villain of the movie finally arrives was very well executed. Some of the comedic beats don't land, but the ones that do are genuinely funny. Mckenna Grace was really good in this movie. I felt like out of all the actors in this movie, Mckenna was the only one who wasn't phoning it in. She gives a very genuine performance in this movie, and I found myself rooting for her character. The third act of the movie was also pretty exciting. Now with the positives out of the way, let's talk about the negatives. Certain actors in this movie felt like they were here simply for a paycheck. I'm looking at you, Bill Murray, because you can tell he's really phoning it in this one. And honestly, Finn Wolfhard feels like he's phoning it in too. I don't know if it's just me, but it kind of feels like he's about done doing the whole 80s nostalgia shtick. Like you could tell he really wants to break out into more serious or mature roles, but he's stuck playing angsty teenagers. I love Paul Rudd and all, but he was basically Ant-Man in this movie. The goofball, fun-loving dad who's trying to reconnect with his daughter? Yeah, that's Ant-Man alright. I also wasn't really digging Kumail Nanjiani's character. This is gonna sound super mean or cold rather, but it kind of feels like it's a role meant for someone, I don't know, younger. Just feels kind of weird seeing him act all awkward and stuff. It's like watching your uncle try so hard to be cool. But I think out of all these problems, the two things that hurt this movie the most is the amount of characters and the pacing. There's way too many characters in this movie, and most of the time they don't really know what to do with them, so it makes it so hard to care when you've got all these characters and subplots running around. The pacing is terrible. The first act moved at a pretty good pace, but the second act is where it slowed down for me. I mentioned earlier that I thought the third act was pretty exciting, but it felt like it took so long to get there because of the slow-paced second act. Overall, despite Mckenna Grace's efforts, the few good scenes of horror and comedy, I wasn't really digging this movie, and in my opinion, they should really put this franchise on ice.